بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. The topic, as announced, is about marriage, and it depends how you look at marriage. It can be a blessing, and to some it may be a menace. It depends on if you're married or not. Those who are not married definitely think of it as a blessing. Those who are married but unhappy in their marriage would look at it in a cynical way. Before we start, who's married among us? Raise your hands, please. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And the rest are not married. There is a hadith that states that the worst among you Muslims are those who are not married. The worst among the Muslims are the bachelors. But this is a fabricated hadith. So alhamdulillah that we don't have anything serious against this, but it is something that is to be considered and to be reckoned with. Marriage is a blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal. It's a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon those whom He favors them with. And this is mentioned clearly in the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, and among His signs is this, that He created for you wives from among yourselves that you may find repose in them, and He has put between you affection and mercy. Verily, in that are indeed signs for a people who reflect. Three things are mentioned in this ayah: repose, reflection, and mercy. Any marriage that has these three ingredients is a successful marriage. And any marriage that does not have this in it, it is a disaster. It's a tribulation. It's a calamity. It is a trial from Allah Azza wa Jal. And it's best for you, if you are unable to attain these things, to call it off. Because this is not something that you should continue to have. The essence of marriage is to have repose, and to have affection and mercy. But if the husband is dominating and he has no mercy in his heart, or if he does not show his affection to his wife, or if he goes into the house and the missus, does this go to the sisters? Yeah. Do we have sisters? Is that it? I could know my limits. And if the sister, the minute her husband walks in, starts to nag, to demand things, and she makes his life hell, this is not a marriage. This is solitary confinement. And he has to look for a way out. He has to escape from this prison. And it might be the same for the girl, for the woman, for the wife. But generally speaking, marriage is a favor and blessing from Allah Azza wa Jal. We're going to list a number of the benefits of marriage, so that those who do not have a wife would be encouraged to look for one. And those who have a wife may be encouraged to look for another one. Or this is haram. Of course this is halal. And I don't know about your country, but is the demand greater than the supply, or the opposite?
The opposite.
The supply is a lot.
Yeah.
You have lots of sisters who are unmarried. Who will marry them? Definitely, we have to find a solution, because if she was my sister, if she was my daughter, and she's not married, I definitely want her to get married, even to someone who has another wife, because half a man is better than no man. And he's not a half a man, he's a full-fledged man, but meaning of the time and of the finance. This is not our topic. Let's keep it happy, huh? This is our happy hour, in an Islamic sense, that is. So, one of the benefits of marriage is that those who get married, they have accomplished a lot in Islam by getting married. Is this possible? Yes, the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, when a person gets married, he has completed half of his religion. So let him fear Allah with regard to the other half. La ilaha illallah. When I get married, I get half of my religion fulfilled and completed? The scholars say yes, the hadith is crystal clear. It's a sahih hadith. Explain it to me. Scholars say that the problems that Muslims face are caused by two things. The desires of the mouth and the desires of their, what do you call it, chastity or private parts or whatever. So if you get married, this is blocked. One would cynically say, well, Sheikh, I'm married, but I'm unable to avoid haram. I still watch porn. I still go to chat rooms. I still flirt with women. You're sick. With all due respect. Allah Azza wa Jal has favored you, has given you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had provided for you the means of protecting your chastity. You are a pervert, you still have, you're looking somewhere else, then the problem is in you. Because the Prophet told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, that is, he told us that once you fulfill your sexual desire, you will not be willing to look elsewhere. The Prophet tells us in the authentic hadith, whenever one of you sees a woman that he likes or desires, by accident of course, not by will. If you walk in the street and you see something you like, the Prophet told us, go back to your wife because she has what that woman has. It's a little bit frank and it's a little bit too clear, but at the end of the day, this is reality. They're all the same. So once you fulfill your desire, anyone, any man who fulfills his desire, after fulfilling his desire, for a few hours or maybe for a few days, he's not even willing to look at the most beautiful woman. He's almost about to throw up. So you have to appreciate this gift from Allah Azza wa Jal. It's half of your religion. The other half comes from what you consume. Whether it is materialistic things, food and drink, or if it is of sentimental value, of riba, of interest, of bribes, of haram. You just keep on collecting it, and in Islam it's eating haram. Actually, you're not eating it, you're gaining it, you are dealing with it, but it is considered also to be that. One of the benefits of being married is that you protect your chastity. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, O young men, and he's addressing the shabab, the youngsters. O young men, whoever among you can afford it, let him get married. Affording it comes in two meanings: financially and physically. All the youngsters will say, physically, we're fit. We're overqualified. Not only fit, we're overqualified. Find a solution. So the Prophet says then, it has to do with financing it. So if you're capable of finding the means to get married, then you should do so, for it is more effective in lowering the gaze and guarding one's chastity. And this is a fact. Those who are married, they don't go around looking left and right. It's much easier for them to lower their gaze because they've tasted what marriage is and they are happy with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given them. Or even those who are not happy with what Allah has given them, they're still content in the sense that, alhamdulillah, their desire was fulfilled. The Prophet says, and whoever cannot afford it. I get tons of mails of students from the UK saying, is masturbation halal? Can we do this? Can we do that? We have a lot of fitna. We have this and that. And the answer is no. What is the ruling, Shaykh? What can we do? The Prophet says, whoever cannot afford it, let him fast. Shaykh, fasting is difficult. Yeah, entering hell is more being punished in fire is more. You don't sin, you don't want to be there, because you know that Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to punish you for sinning. So you fast, and this keeps your iman intact, it grows the amount of chastity, and it helps you to lower your gaze. The Prophet says, let him fast, for it will be a shield for him. And this hadith was reported in Bukhari and Muslim, so it's an agreed upon hadith. Part of the points that one should pay attention to is that getting married is part of the sunnah of all messengers of Allah. So all messengers of Allah were married before. Even Jesus, well, this is something we cannot tell because we don't have evidence whether he got married or not, but we know that he will descend and he will get married and he will have offspring of his own. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, or actually Allah Azza wa Jalla says about his prophets, and indeed we sent messengers before you, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and made for them wives and offsprings. So always when you do something, have this in your intention, that I'm following the sunnahs of the messengers of Allah. So it would become a double reward. Marriage by itself and your intention of following the sunnah. And of course, if it's the sunnah of the messengers of Allah, it is also the sunnah of the greatest messenger of Allah, and that is our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Did the Prophet marry? Yes. And he married a number of women who are our mothers. And when the Prophet ﷺ had 3 of his companions going and asking his wives about the forms of worship that the Prophet ﷺ offered, and they told them that, well, he does this and that, they belittled it. They thought that, okay, the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal has been forgiven all of his previous sins, and not only that, even the coming sins. So he's not like us. We need forgiveness, we need a lot of good deeds. So one of them stood up and said, I will pray the whole night without sleeping. The second one said, I will fast and I'll never break my fast. Every single day I will fast, the whole year. And the third one, who was the luckiest, said, well, I'll not marry. I will not marry at all. And when the Prophet heard about this, ﷺ, he got outraged. And he went to the Prophet ﷺ, and he praised Allah. And he said that, why do people say so and so and so? By Allah, I fast and I break my fasting. I pray and I sleep and I marry women. Whoever chooses a way or a path or a sunnah other than mine, then he is not from me. Meaning that he is not following my sunnah. So those who live a life of how do you celibacy, whatever, you know what I mean. Those who live a life like that, this is permissible? It's not permissible, because you're going against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and you have to get married. But this depends again on the 5 rulings that apply to marriage. Marriage can be mandatory, it can be recommended, it can be halal, permissible, it can be not recommended, and it can be haram, depending on the individual, and we will not go into this inshallah. Now, if you ask any of the people, what is the most thing that you want in this world? Some would say, I want a house, mortgage-free. One would say, I'd like a Porsche, 911 Turbo, S4, 2, whatever, convertible preferably. Others would say, I'd like a big position. But the Prophet is indicating to us, ﷺ, the best thing in this world, that is worldly connected. And he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this world is transient comforts. This is something that you enjoy, but it is soon to go and disappear. And the best of the comforts of this world is a righteous woman. This was reported by Imam Muslim. Imagine that you complete half of your deen and you fulfill your desires and you get the best in this world when you marry a righteous and Allah-fearing woman. By marrying, you're not only doing something that pleases Allah, you're doing something that can have benefit for you in this world as well. One would say, Akhi, I'm poor, I'm a student, I can barely get the money to go to college. Now it's £9,000, right? For the university. So I can barely get the money. I'm trying to get a loan and it's all interest-based loans and you want me to get married? Well, if you have the sincere intention of getting married for the sake of preserving your chastity, for the intent, with the intention of pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah will help you. You have to believe in this. You have to have the conviction that this is a fact. The Prophet tells us in the authentic hadith alayhi salatu wasalam, there are three who are all entitled to Allah's help. Who are they? One, the one who fights for the sake of Allah. Allah will help him. Two, al-mukatab, who wants to pay the price of his freedom. Do you know who is al-mukatab? Al-mukatab is a slave. In Islam, POWs are not sent into Guantanamo. POWs are sold and distributed to Muslims so that they serve in their houses and they become slaves. If they accept Islam, alhamdulillah, but they're still slaves. And it is one of the greatest means of converting them to Islam. When they live with the Muslims in their houses and they see how they deal, they turn into Islam, and this captivity becomes the main source of them entering paradise. And that is why in the authentic hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, I am astonished for seeing people being dragged into paradise with chains in their necks and hands. Who are these people? The prisoners of war who were non-Muslims. They were captive, the chains were put in their necks and in their hands. After a while they accepted Islam. These chains caused them to enter paradise. So it is for their sake, it is for the best of their interest. However, in Islam, alhamdulillah, there is a way of freeing themselves. You know that all our expiations, on top of the list is always free a slave. So Islam does not promote slavery. On the contrary, it promotes freeing them. If you say, Wallahi, I will do this tomorrow, and you're unable to do it, or you want to break your promise, what do? Free a slave. If you have intercourse during the day of Ramadan while fasting, what is the penalty? Free a slave. If you kill someone by mistake, you must free a slave. If you say to your wife that I will not touch you and you are like my mother, you have to free a slave. And it goes on and on and on. Subhanallah. So, al-mukatab is a person who wants to free himself, but he doesn't have any money. So he goes to his master and says, Master, I will buy myself from you. How much do you want? He said, I need 2,000 pounds. He says, okay, in a duration of 10 months. So the man goes and works outside and collects money until he's capable of gathering 2,000 pounds and giving it to his master, and then he becomes free. This second person, Allah Azza wa Jal will help him. The third one is a person who gets married seeking chastity. So if this is your intention, Allah Azza wa Jal would help you. Not only financially, but through all the aspects, because marriage is important in Islam. Allah Azza wa Jal will help you financially. Allah will provide for you if you want to get married. It is a means and source of income. Marriage is a source of income. Do you believe in this, or it's a source of spending money unwisely? When you look at the weddings, when you look at the dowries that people pay, when you look at the conditions that the woman's family put, this is ridiculous. This has nothing to do with Islam. It has to do with customs. It has to do with anything but other than Islam. It is a means of income to get married. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, and marry those among you who are single, and the pious, the salihun, the pious, fit and capable ones of your male slaves and maid servants, female slaves. If they be poor, Allah will enrich them out of His bounty. This is Allah's words. إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء يُغْنِهِمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. So Allah is promising that if they were to be poor, Allah Azza wa Jal would provide for them. Now those who are not married, you have to believe in the Quran. You don't have the means, Allah Azza wa Jal would provide for you. But the problem is, sometimes we put forward a lot of conditions, and we put obstacles that may hinder the process. So now you're poor, you're a student, you don't have money, but you want her to be the most beautiful woman on earth. She knows Bukhari and Muslim by heart, of course, and the Quran with 7 qira'at. And before she started practicing Islam, she used to be a ballerina or whatever. She dances the ballet, and she's the greatest violinist. And she did this and this. SubhanAllah, what you're looking for is in Jannah, not here. And the guy has nothing to show for what he's asking for. But still, no. When you want to get married, you want to preserve and protect your chastity. So don't put conditions. I'd like her to be this height, this fair color, this level of education, and preferably she provides for me. I can come 4 or 5 times a year, and not, this is not the thing that you want to do. You want to preserve your chastity. Take a wife that would fulfill this. But once you put this, then you have a problem. Among the benefits of marriage is those who are married are usually mentally fitter than those who are not. And why do I say usually? Because sometimes the missus just, blows your mind away with her nagging, with her constant abuse, mental abuse. And the sisters, mashallah, they're extremely well educated in how to poke you and abuse you in ways that you don't know, you can't anticipate. Now, of course, the sisters are boiling and they want to. The men definitely have this in them, but they have an extra edge. They do it even physically. And by Allah Azza wa Jal, these are not among the best of the Muslims. They are among the worst of Muslims. It is a means of reward to be good to your wife. And the Prophet tells us the best among you to their wives are the best among the Muslims. So you are the one who is supposed to go the extra mile. And you're the one who's supposed to be tolerant and trying your best to, how do you say it, incubate? Or, no, it's not a good word, not incubate, don't, just edit it. You have to do your best to cater for your wife's needs and to tolerate her, some of the wrong things that she does. In a study of 35,000 cases, and this is done over 15 countries, Dr. Kate Scott, not a Muslim, of Otago Wellington University in New Zealand, concluded after this thorough study that marriage helps in reducing depression and psychological pressure. Allah Azza wa Jal had made repose between the spouses. What did the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw the Archangel Jibreel, peace be upon him, and he told him, Iqra, and he said, I'm not going to recite, and you know the whole story. When he came back home to his wife, Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, and we know that a lot of men have reached perfection. Among the women, only 4 had reached this level of perfection. They are Aisha, no, she's not one of them. Asiya, Maryam, Khadija, and Fatima, may Allah be pleased with them. So Khadija was one of them. What did she have more than the others? The minute the Prophet came, trembling, shaking, afraid of what he had seen, because he saw Jibreel, peace be upon him, on his throne in the original form that Allah had created him. What was the original form? The Prophet said, I saw him on his throne blocking the horizon. Okay, my horizon is this big. When you're in a desert, what can block your horizon? It has to be extremely huge. He said he had 600 wings. From these wings, pearls, emeralds, rubies, and precious stones are falling down. So he came back home shaking and shivering, afraid. What did Khadija say? Why did you come now? Why are you late? Why did you bring the groceries? Why didn't you do this? Why did you always make something up so that I would feel sorry? No, subhanAllah. She never did anything like that. She immediately brought him something to cover him with. What kind of love is this? If I come home with a fever and I look tired, pale, yellow, I'm originally yellow, what's wrong with that? And I come home and my wife says, you always do this. Just because you know that you're supposed to go out for dinner. You never want us, in the first place, to take us out. You always make up these things. Don't pretend. There is no affection, there's no mercy. When I see her carrying the dishes and she trembles and falls, I said, Alhamdulillah. Exactly as planned. What kind of love is this? Is there any love? No. There is no affection, there's no mercy. Khadija, subhanAllah, immediately said, what's wrong? And when he told her, she said, do not be afraid. By Allah, Allah Azza wa Jalla will not turn you down. Because you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. She started listing things that would give him courage and confidence, restore the confidence in himself. This is a real wife. This is a real woman. With such a woman, would you ever feel depressed or psychologically pressured? By Allah, no. That is why you find those who are happily married would always share their secrets, not their sins, previous sins. One of the brothers came to me and said, Wallahi, I made a big mistake. Why? He said, after 15 years of marriage, I went to my wife in a moment of, transparency. We were happy, drinking coffee, and I told her, listen, I had an affair before we got married. And all hell broke loose. It's been a week now, I'm unable to sleep. And you're crazy? Are you crazy, whether you're a man or a woman, to go and tell your spouse about your previous life? This is haram Islamically. Because Allah concealed your sins and now you are exposing them. So, this is the wife you look for, the wife you talk to, and share with her your secrets and your problems and your worries. And likewise, you also listen to what she has to say about things that occupy her mind, things that bother her, and you give her the repose that you should both exchange together. How much time is that? Okay, it's more than enough, inshallah. Among the benefits of marriage, is means of getting reward from Allah that those who are not married cannot get. So the only way to get such rewards from Allah is through what? Getting married. Such as, one, the Prophet tells us ﷺ, in an authentic hadith that when a man has intercourse with his wife, he's rewarded. Now the brothers who are married, Wallah, I didn't know. Let's call the missus. Yes, you're right. This is your right completely. The companions were, their minds were blown out. Prophet of Allah, we enjoy our desire, we fulfill our desire and we reward it? And the Prophet said, yes, alayhi salatu wasalam. If you put it in sin, if you put it in haram, would you be sinful? They said, yes. He said, likewise, if you put it in halal, it is a means of charity and a reward. What kind of religion do you have? It's beauty. You enjoy life. You're not supposed to put yourself in a box and bury yourself. Enjoy life to the fullest. And Allah Azza wa Jalla reward you for that. All what He asks from you, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that you worship Him and stay away from haram. Is that much to ask? The Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, avoid forbidden things and you become the most righteous person on earth. SubhanAllah. You want to become a good, righteous person? Avoid sin. You don't have to pray night prayers, 6-7 hours. You don't have to give all of your money to charity. Avoid sin. Among the things that only married people can enjoy and get rewarded for, the Prophet said, no matter what you spend on your family, that is wife, you will be rewarded even the morsel of food you put in your wife's mouth. Imagine, if you have a good intention, every day you go and buy groceries. What do you do when you come home with 2 big full bags of grocery? The wife sees this, mashallah, jazakallah khair, father of so-and-so. In Arabia you say Abu Abdullah, Abu Muhammad, the beautiful nicknames. So she says, mashallah, jazakallah khair, may Allah grant you, reward you and grant you more money on for what you spend on us. What does the man say? It cost me £75 and 28p. And he puts the receipt. Why are you doing this? Why are you rubbing it in? You just want to make it bad for your wife? She's thanking you. The least you could do is say, may Allah reward you as well. Why do you have to show her that I've spent so much on the grocery? You're the one who's going to eat it. If you anticipate the reward from Allah for the morsel you put in her mouth, Allah Azza wa Jal will put this for you as a sadaqah, a charity. Now, when was the last time, I asked some of the brothers, when was the last time you put a morsel in your wife's mouth? He said, 25 years ago. On our wedding night, we exchanged cakes. That is it. So, okay, why don't you do it now? Are you crazy? She'll bite my fingers off. There is so much dryness in our relationships with our spouses. The Prophet ﷺ, whenever Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, took a bite from a piece of meat, he used to take it from her and watches where her teeth were, and he eats from the same place. And whenever she drank milk from the cup, he would turn the cup and puts his lips on the same place where she drank from. Look at the love. I know gazillion of cases where the husband says to his wife, go and get me a spoon so that I can eat. She says, use my spoon. Is you crazy? Go wash it first. What is this? What are you doing? Where is the love? And they say, Wallah, Shaykh, I don't know where the love has gone. I know where the love has gone. It went down the drain when she washed the spoon she ate with. You have a problem. You have to fix that problem. It's means of reward in Islam. The Prophet tells us, alayhi salatu wasalam, the best of you are those best to their wives. So if you're not married, you cannot have this reward because you don't have any wife to be good to. The Prophet ﷺ also indicated that among the benefits of marrying is when you marry a virgin. And the Prophet told Jabir ibn Abdullah ibn Haram, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, when he saw him and he told him, did you get married? He said, yes. So he asked him, to a virgin or an unvirgin? And he said, no, to an unvirgin. And the Prophet said, alayhi why not a virgin that you would play with and she would play with you? A virgin is different than a non-virgin, and this is not the suitable time to elaborate. But Jabir explained himself. He said, O Prophet of Allah, my father was martyred in battle, and he left half a dozen of girls. And I did not want to bring another girl to them. So they're all, makes them 7. I needed someone who was mature, who was experienced in life, so that she would take care of my sisters. And the Prophet ﷺ supplicated that may Allah Azza wa Jal bless his marriage. Among the benefits of, or the means of reward that you only can get from being married is the Prophet ﷺ, he said that all that does not have dhikr in it is amusement. So whatever we do that does not have football, it's amusement. There's no reward in it. If you do it, there is sin in it. If you do it at times of prayer and you skip prayer, or if you're wearing shorts, or if you are a professional in breaking people's legs. Some of the brothers, mashallah, they don't know how to play football. They don't see the ball actually. They only see legs, so they just intend on, attacking people. So this is a sin by itself. So the Prophet says, ﷺ, all that does not have dhikr in it is amusement, except for, and he mentioned that one of them is playing or having intimacy with your spouse, with your wife, or with the spouse if she is doing that to her husband. SubhanAllah, it's means of reward. Though it has no dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, but because it preserves both spouses' chastity and helps them. Among the benefits of zawaj, of marriage, that you cannot get except in marriage, is the reproduction. And in Islam, it is an important aspect. In Islam, we're instructed, we're ordered to have as many children as we can. Nowadays, people in UK, I think, if they have one, alhamdulillah, khalas, it's more than enough. Maybe they have 2, a boy and a girl, Allah, you have it made. Khalas. Block all means and do it surgically or whatever ways possible. Khalas, a boy and a girl is enough. No, the more you have children, the better a Muslim you are. Of course, providing that you give them a good life and you bring them up in an Islamic way, not reproduce and throw on the streets and don't know who you. I'm his son. What's your name? It's Ahmed. How old are you? I'm 6. Nice seeing you. We have people who have lots and lots of children and they don't know anything about them. I know a brother who has children. When I ask him, this son of yours, which year is he at school? Said, Allah, don't ask him. I don't know. You don't know what level your son is? Said, no. This is haram. You should take care of your children. Reproduction is the da'wah, the supplication of Zakaria and Ibrahim. Peace be upon them. They asked Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah Azza wa Jalla granted them children when they were extremely old. So you keep on. One of the brothers says, I'm 60 years old and don't have children. Don't give up. Keep on asking Allah Azza wa Jalla. Ibrahim had his first child when he was like 70, 80 years old. So you still have 20 years to go. Keep on asking Allah and Allah will reward you with His grace. The hadith of Prophet Sulaiman. 10 minutes, you just said 45 minutes. What is this?
We'll open the floor up to questions, Sheikh.
Time traveling. Okay. Yeah, I don't read. I'll try my best, inshallah. Sulaiman, peace be upon him, a king and a prophet, had 100 wives, and he said, by Allah, I will sleep with them all, and I will have 100 fighters in the cause of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So look at his intention. What is his intention? To have fun, to have children, to have men that would serve the cause of Allah Azza wa Jalla, of his religion. One of the greatest things of reproduction is that after your death, your legacy continues through a righteous son. And the Prophet told us, when someone dies, all of his deeds are stopped, except 1, 2, 3, and one of them was a righteous son that supplicates for his father. And of course, among you all, inshallah, are those righteous sons who do this to their parents. A man by the name of Ma'qal ibn Yasar, may Allah be pleased with him, came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said that, "O Prophet of Allah, I found a woman who is of good lineage and she's beautiful, but she does not have children. Should I marry her?" The Prophet said no. ﷺ. And the man repeated his question again. The Prophet said no. And repeated it thrice. And the Prophet said no. And then the Prophet said, ﷺ, "Marry those who are loving and fertile." It is an essential thing in marriage that you reproduce, you have children. One would say, "Shaykh, how can I know if my wife-to-be is fertile? Should I take her for a test drive, for example?" How would I know if she's fertile or not? Well, the scholars say that this is known through looking at her relatives. So if she has sisters, and her sisters, mashallah, all have children, this means that the possibility is far greater that she would also be fertile. But if she has 3 sisters and none of them was able to have children, then you should refrain. And this does not mean it's haram to marry someone who does not have children. No. But she is not your first option. She can be your second option. If you have a wife and you have children and you marry her, this is quite permissible, inshallah. There's so much to say, but among the benefits of marriage, you don't have this here maybe, but we have it in Arabia a lot, is to have in-laws. Maybe it's a menace here to have in-laws. In Saudi Arabia, we're proud, in Arabia generally speaking, we're proud to have in-laws. When I marry a woman, and she has brothers, and she has relatives, cousins and nephews, it makes me a stronger person. It makes me more honorable person to have so many people knowing me and connecting with me. So I do them favors, they'll do me favors. But if I'm on my own, this would not be possible. And finally, among the benefits of marriage is the protection of the society. A society that the people do not get married in, they will have a lot of tribulation. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, if there comes to you to propose for marriage to your daughter, one with whose religious commitment and character you are pleased, then marry your daughter to him. For if you do not do that, there will be tribulation, fitna, on earth and widespread corruption on earth. And this is obvious. After the Second World War, in countries like Germany, France, where a lot of the men have perished and died, there were a lot of women available. And due to the fact that only one man took one woman, you had surplus. And it's natural that women have to beautify themselves, have to fulfill their natural desires, and this caused in the widespread of prostitution and a lot of marital problems. Islam fights this. Islam gives you the solution, it gives you the alternative in such cases, and with this I conclude my talk. And I also invite you all to get married. It's a bitter sweet experience. You, with the grace of Allah, if you have good intention, it will always be sweet. And not only that, there are lots and lots of things that should follow, and that is responsibilities, obligations, and rights of the spouses over each other. But this, inshallah, we will come to talk about, with the grace of Allah, on our seminar on marriage on Sunday, inshallah.